Hey guys, it's Steven with Today in DeFi. This week just marked the biggest stablecoin inflow of 2025, and that's not something you want to ignore. So stablecoins are actually the fuel of DeFi, and when billions starts to pour in, it usually signs big moves ahead. But here's one thing, not every chain will benefit equally. So in today's update, I am going to break down where the capital is actually flowing and which ecosystems are winning by data. So we're gonna look at some on-chain data and fundamentals and what it means for the market going forward. So let's dive in. This week we got a whooping 4.2 billion 7 days change in the stablecoins market cap supply, which amounts to 1.8%. In the last 30 days, there has been a 2.3% increase, which amounts to almost 5.5 billion, and 4.2 is minted only in the last 7 days, which the USDT dominance is now almost 62%. And the good news is, this week we were seeing an inflow in USDT in the first time in quite a while. So 2.7 billion USDT minted, and follow with 1.2 billion USDC mints as well. So usually why I'm saying it's actually a good catalyst for USDT mints to happen in a huge amount, it's because usually USDT inflows is more correlated to the Bitcoin's price. So you can see here I backtested this data from CryptoQuant, and the main idea of this is not to only focus on Bitcoin, but this is just giving you guys a visual idea of what I'm trying to say. So when the rate of mints of USDT in the market is going diabolical, usually Bitcoin's price catches up on the action as well. So, but when we compare it here in the last 1 year and in this cycle, the inflows of USDC and the mints of USDC doesn't really correlate too much on Bitcoin's price increase or decrease. So this is mostly a good catalyst for Bitcoin, and usually when Bitcoin's price rises, the other chains or the other tokens will also come into hand and correlates into Bitcoin's price increase as well. So here I also have a chart comparing the total stablecoin market cap with Bitcoin's price, and why are we actually always talking about stablecoins market cap. So you can see here, usually the trend of Bitcoin and a total stablecoin market cap correlates with each other pretty well in the long run. So you can see here, if Bitcoin's price is like lagging or doesn't correlate too much with the total stablecoin market cap, it usually serves as a opportunity to scale into the market. Right now, Bitcoin's price trend is still trading below the trend of the total stable market cap. So this may be an opportunity, but disclaimer one, this is not an invitation to buy or sell Bitcoin or any tokens, but we're just saying by data, and this is our analysis for the markets. And right now we're also going to look at some chains and see how are their stable market cap going on in each chain. So we saw a 1.18% 7 days change in Ethereum, which is great. A 3.14 increase on Tron. This makes sense because there has been a massive USDT inflows in the last 7 days, and Tron is usually the primary chain on where people usually mint USDT. And 3.18% on Solana. This is kind of huge, and we're gonna review that on Artemis later on to see other matrices also which will support this data or not. And also 5.41% or hyperliquid. I think the token itself is also doing pretty well in the last 7 days. Maybe covered not too much. I think it's negative for now, but it actually traded higher the other day, around 10-11% increase. But on chain, till today, in the last 7 days, Hyperliquid still experiences a net inflow of 5.41% in their stables market cap. And actually, another interesting fact, in the last 7 days change, a huge 8% mint on SkyDollar USDS is also happening in the market, which usually signals more conservative trend of investors or traders because you can use USDS to deposit into SUSDS and gain 4.5% fixed yield for now. And if we track back on when that happened actually on the huge inflows actually happened for April 23rd to April 25th and 26th. If we look at the chart of Bitcoin when that happens, is actually on the peak level of Bitcoin. So if I were to speculate or I were to guess on the flows coming into SUSDS, is usually people taking profits from the market because the market has been performing really well on the last 1 week. It's more than 10%, and maybe people actually felt that like it's enough and put some money and profits into the SUSDS savings rate here for 4.5%. Next, we're gonna compare ecosystem across major chains like layer ones, layer twos. And it's crucial because capital in crypto is constantly rotating and it rarely moves randomly. So each chain competes for liquidity, the users, the developers, and also attention. So some ecosystem naturally grows faster, so they offer better yields and rolls out new upgrades, and while others are losing momentum. By comparing their performance side by side, we can identify where activity is truly accelerating, which ecosystems are gaining real adoption, and where futures opportunities might be. So, like whether it's new airdrops, incentive programs, or price momentum. And by subscribing to our free daily newsletter like this, you just have to sit and relax while we search, curate, and compose the news for you to spot early alpha like launches, updates, farms, airdrops, and more. So, link is down below, by the way. Yeah, in this market, it's not enough to just look at Bitcoin or Ethereum. You need to understand the whole battlefield to spot the winners early. So, all right, we're gonna go into it. For the major chains, we're gonna compare Solana, Ethereum, and BNB. So, in daily active adjustments, most chains are performing quite well. They are quite stably active in the last 1 week. We can see here Solana gaining some daily transactions. Maybe this may be the impact on the Trump token. So there has been some interesting facts that if you are actually top holders of this Trump token, you can get dinner with the president himself. So you can see the price rising almost double the price in 1 week. Yeah, it reached double the price, and it's interesting because this gives you real incentive to actually hold the token. So this impacts the Solana chain quite well. You can see the stablecoin transfer volume trend on Solana is performing way better than BNC and also Ethereum. And stablecoin supply here on Solana performs really well. An obvious uptrend here. You don't see this in Ethereum. You can see this in BNB as well, but it's not present in Ethereum. You can see here Ethereum actually lacking up and when we are comparing in trend when compared to Solana and BNB. But there's like a revival pattern here going on for the stablecoin supply trend on Ethereum, which is a good catalyst for Ethereum as well. TVL has been increasing on Ethereum and Solana, and it's natural since the token price is increasing as well. In the DEX volume, the activity on Solana clearly outperforms Ethereum and BNB. I think this is also the impact since the Trump token narrative, and also the fees generated in Solana chain has been outperforming Ethereum and BNB by a huge difference, and it's also true in the revenue by a slight difference. Next, we're gonna look at some layer ones. Here, I curated this one for daily active justice. It seems like Say network is gaining quite a momentum in the last few days. We can see here the token price actually is actually performing quite well recently in the last a few hours compared to Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. So this might be an early catalyst for the token, and it's validated by the data, and it's gaining quite significant amount of daily active justice in the last 1 week, and it's outperforms other chains like Sonic, Sui, and Bear Chain. And it's validated also in the daily transactions that it's becoming way stable when compared to the other chains here. Yep, and clear to see that the daily transaction count on Say outperforms most of the layer ones here, except for Sui. So Sui experienced quite noticeable run up here, almost 80% in the last 1 week, and it translates well to the TVL here. However, the stablecoin supply doesn't really correlate with the price increase, and we actually spotted a huge spike on the stablecoin transfer volume on Sui last week, signaling hidden catalyst for the token. And it's true, since there has been high activity on the DEX volumes as well here, and it's obvious since the TVL outperforms the others because the price does as well. And for the fees generated, it's dramatically higher than the other chains, and it's also true for the revenue. So it's very, very interesting to see Sui performing really well, and we're gonna look at in a deeper analysis later on to see on-chain, like, is it organic growth or it's just temporary hype. Anyways, for Say's TVL, it's also having a better trend when compared to the other chains by percentage. Move on to layer 2s now. From all of this matrix, it's very visible and it's very obvious that base is outperforming the other layer 2s by activity. The trend is way better on base rather than optimism or arbitrum. And the stablecoin transfer volume on base has been ticking up quite some figures here in the last 1 week. And it's also true for the TVL. Here we are seeing a huge, massive spike on the DEX volume on base, signaling there might be some hidden opportunities that lies beneath the ecosystem. And just like always, base outperforms the other two chains in fees and revenue. So nothing much surprising happening here except for the DEX volume on base. So it might be interesting to see some farming opportunities on base to see what has been trending there. Now let's identify and track the leading chains on the past week. So please note that the chains tracked here are the ones above 50 million. You want to farm on chains that has liquidity above 50 million, TVL above 50 million, which lowers the risk into being diluted or being liquidated in the market. So the whole idea of tracking the best performing chains over the past week gives us a real-time window into where capital is rotating. Before it becomes obvious to the wider market, in DeFi, narratives shift really fast. I mean, it's crypto, it's very fast-paced. So a surge in activity, stablecoin deposits, or token price in one chain often hints that builders, traders, and liquidity are moving into the chain or ecosystems. And momentum tends to feed on itself. So by spotting which ecosystems are performing week over week and which chains are actually leading, you can catch early signals or where the next opportunity incentives or even new projects might emerge. So it's just not about chasing performance. We want to also understand why certain chains are gaining strength. That's why we are doing this in-depth analysis to see which tokens are actually being poured into the chain. So like, for example, this last 7 days, we are seeing 55% increase on BitLayer and 52% increase on Bitcoin. And I think Bitcoin DeFi itself is not a new idea, but it's been trending this last week. And I think more relevant for us would be Unichain and Sui, but still we're gonna see which protocols are actually interesting in the Bitcoin ecosystem. The last 1 week, there has been a spike in Bitcoin usage in DeFi, and if we scroll to the protocols that are actually trending, is actually Babylon. So Babylon protocol is a restaking protocol for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin holders can earn yields from the idle Bitcoin in a secure way. So they claim that we can actually self-custody and still earn yield on our Bitcoin. People found this interesting. That's why it's actually gaining traction in the market. But we're not going too much about Bitcoin DeFi. But still, this may be an opportunity for you guys who are only like a Bitcoin maxis that are really conservative and don't want to actually jump too much on Ethereum or stable farms. I think Bitcoin farms, if you are interested, you can take a look at Babylon. Also, we got BitLayer as well. It's a Bitcoin layer 2. And in this chain, there has been one protocol that catches my eyes, is the BitZap YUSD. So the idea for BitZap YUSD is that you can mint by your like YUSD by over collateralizing BTC. So you can actually like mint or borrow YUSD by collateralizing your Bitcoin. So it has to be over collateralized as well. And yeah, you can search through the narratives here. And yeah, let's take a look at what's more relevant for us. I think the TVL change on Unichain is really interesting because on April 16th, there has been a incentive program for Uni. So you can actually capture this in our news on the farm section, everything related to farms section or on farming. We put it here on, and you can see here. So Uniswap V4 incentives are actually now live on Unichain, and this is on April 16th. And after our coverage on the news, the TVL exploded for 300 million in the past 2-3 weeks. So that's really interesting. When looking into the chain on which farms are actually interesting farms must be the one that has uni incentives. Like for this stable pool USDC against USDT, there has been a 12% reward APR for uni which gives you 12.39% of total APR on a stablecoin farm, which is kind of cool. Also for Ethereum against wrap stake Ethereum here, 12.5% of uni incentives, which is also really great. And another one here is the Ethereum against wrap Ethereum farm. And the TVL here are actually really great. It's all of it is about 50 million. So yeah, people find this as really interesting farm, and we ourselves also look at this as a quite interesting farm to actually participate at. So this might be interesting for you guys searching for, if you are bullish in uni, if you believe that uni price will actually go up. That will also affect the farms as well. So right now, uni is trading around 5. If it trades higher, it could potentially affect the APR on becoming higher as well. So really interesting farm here on uni. And next, like promised, we're gonna look at Sui. So is the ecosystems on Sui just hyping because of the token increase, or are there any sustainable yields? I found one interesting protocol. It's called Momentum. It's like a DEX on Sui. And if you look at the TVL setup here, the inflows of tokens into Momentum is actually USDC, not only Sui. Sui's price increase does impact the protocol's TVL, but however, a more significant impact is caused by the USDC increase on Sui. If we look at here on the app and look at liquidity, let's see which one are actually putting USDC. We can look at here. The APR for like wrap USDT against Sui is 7%. Wrap USDC against USDC gives you almost 15% only on fees. So the fees generated in Sui will actually be incentivized to the liquidity providers in this pool. So this is actually kind of great. Also some stable pools as well here. Sui USDT against USDC here. So interesting APYs only for stable farms here in this kind of market. Around 15 and above 10% may be interesting to farm. And this is on the base assumption that Sui ecosystem is actually still active in their transactions and in users. So that's the matrix that you want to keep on track and update if you want to farm these kind of liquidity pools. All right. Next one, we also got Navi. Navi offers over-collateralization. It's a lending and borrowing protocol for Sui, Sui USDC, USDT, Ethereum. And if you look at the TBL here, what I'm trying to see here is actually the real stable inflows, like the ones that I'll be ticking up here. And if you can see, yeah, in the last 1 week, there has been a really good increase on USDC as well in the protocol, farms as well for USDT that also gives you incentives like boosted APR, which gives you sweet tokens. And the last chain that I'll be covering today in this week's analysis will be Say. Like mentioned before, Say had a lot of increase in the daily active addresses and a stable amount of daily active transactions, and the TVL is doing really great. So if we look at which protocols are actually interesting in this in Say, we got Yay Finance and also Pit Finance. Pit Finance is a little bit new for us. We covered Yay Finance and obviously cool APY on their campaign here with Binance Wallet. Only by putting in USDC, you'll get like a 11% APY. You can find more details here. There's like a campaign going on with Binance that offers 1.4 million rewards in Say DeFi Season 2. So here are the steps if you want to look at it. You can check out their website. But yeah, 10% APY on USDC is pretty interesting. So that explains the high TBL of USDC in the protocol. So yeah, that's how we actually want to identify potential farms to look at. And the higher TBL that they had will be way better for us. It reduces risk and reduces the dilution risk. So we will be able to get sustainable APY in the future. So yeah, I think that's it for this week's. Subscribe to our YouTube to get more updates and the latest videos. All right, that's it. See you in the next one.